Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today we have another battle report. It's a completely fictional scenario inspired by a game that I played with a friends of Eagle to Glory that we played some times ago. He set up this scenario and was very interesting. I want to try to replicate with Valor&Fortitude. The French, led by Marshal Davout, is just entering in the battlefield in march order and have the task to conquer as much terrain as possible. The Austrian are waiting the enemy, but the reserves are late, so only part of their main force is on the battlefield at the beginning of the game. There are three main objectives. This village here, the largest one, to control the objective, and so the village, the player must have one unit, not battered unit, within 6 inches from the main objective, and no enemy unit within 6 inches from the main objective. There is the main village, as I said, and two small ones. This farm on the stream left of the Austrian, and this small village here on the stream right of the Austrian. The main village grant 8 victory points, while both the small village and the farm grant 3 victory points. So the terrain is quite flat with small wood and a large one. It is a 3-part of defendable terrain. The part up on the hill, the central one, the final one on the other mat. Anyway, it presents an interesting choice for the Marshal Davout, because he can split his force and take the two small one and then try to defend and inflict as much casualties as possible as defeat to win the game, or try to conquer the largest one and maybe a small one, or contend it at least, but this allow a better, easier defense for the Austrian. So we will see which tactics the French will adopt. Due to the difficulty of the task, I decided to assign the Austrian the EA defense card to protect their objectives, and the French, I lead the French in the attack. Austria reserves the large part of his army, all the remaining infantry battalion, the grenadier, another Grenzen brigade, and the heavy cavalry will arrive from turn 6 and must enter from this road here. So they have to have room, so probably not all the reserves can arrive in the same turn. For the French, the main army is on the table. In a sec we will see what we have on the field. They have in reserves the elite to finish the job, the two heavy cavalry brigade, one made of dragoons and one made of cuirassiers, plus the hold guard detachment. So that is, now moving to show you what is on the table. The Austrian start with 2 brigades on the field, 1 Grenzen brigade assigned to Brigade General Vexi with advance guard, 2 units of Grenzen, 1 unit of Jaeger, and 2 units of cavalry, 1 of hussars and 1 of lancers, plus 1 horse limbered artillery. And the brigade tasked to protect the main village saw a large battalion of infantry, a detachment of Jaeger, then a battery of 6-pounder, and 2 regular battalion, led by General Major Henberg, and Davout, with timid and intractable as a trait, will lead the force. Now moving to the French. Necessity of deployment pack the French in very unhistorical way, but assuming that they are marching in just in this moment. They are led by Marshal Davout itself, with stubborn, indomitable strategies and skillful. Will lead a 1st brigade here, led by Godin, 4 units of line infantry with 1 unit of veteran, 2 gun of 8-pounder. Then in front of them, Frere lead a detachment and a brigade made of detachment of voltigeur. On the left, Theroux lead a Polish brigade made of 2 line infantry, 1 understrained light battalion of Polish, 1 8-pounder, and another 8-pounder for them, and a light Lancers battalion, squadron. On the back of Gudin-Friant with the largest brigade of the game. There are 6 battalion, 5 of them are line, 1 are a combined grenadier platoon. And sorry, I made a little mistake. 1 of these 2 artillery is for the Friant battery. On the right we have a brigade of light cavalry made of 3 squadron, 2 of chasseurs and cheval and 1 of the hussars, plus a unit of dragoon. I use my rules for not the detachment, but a unit of dragoon that can dismount, and 1 unit of artillery on cheval, followed by a small brigade, 4 units of Leger, 3 units of Leger led by Morand, and a unit of horse-drawn artillery. And that's it for the French. In reserve they have 1 unit of the Old Guard chasseurs à pied and 2 units of heavy cavalry. And that's it. Now moving to the first activation turn. I decided to go big, so I decided to split my force in 3, sent the Polish brigade towards the small village, the center with Gudin and Friant marched forward, skirmished by the Frere light brigade, and on this flank both the light cavalry and the Leger has moved toward the farms. So that's for the first turn of the French, and now moving into the first Austrian turn. According to the card strategy, the Austrian just move slightly forward to protect the village and the objectives and fire with this artillery, and the other one causing some casualty into the French forces that is coming in front of them. And that's it for the Austrian first turn. Second turn for the French, I drew a 6 and I'm moving into the activation and fire phase. The skirmish fire of the line of Voltigeur inflicted 2 casualties on this battalion and 1 on the larger battalion into the center. Then every activation successfully go in, so the Polish has taken position into the village and set their artillery. The center saw both the brigade advance, the first brigade of Gudin take the mixed order, and while the Friant brigade is still in a marching column. On the back the reserves of the French arrived, one brigade of the Old Guard led by Cambron, and the brigade of dragoon made of 2 units of dragoon and 4 detachment of infantry led by Boyer, which is a fan of LaSalle. He wear the same clothes. I use this superb model, but is not LaSalle. Is a LaSalle, not LaSalle. And on the extreme French right, the Leger is ready to take the farm, probably next turn, while the cavalry wait in support. The artillery are deployed, the dragoons occupy 1 portion of the wood, and that put an end to the French second turn. So the Austrians have decided to equal defense at the beginning, try to protect all the village, and if the situation go wrong, try to take the center and left the right and the left to the French. We will see. For now they have to roll on the right is a relieve, only take fire activation. In the center is a react. That mean react to the enemy with fire and counter-attack where needed. We'll see for the cavalry on the right is the same. So we'll see some maneuver to try to protect the objective, prefer fire over melee. Set aside the counter-strike unit. And that's it. Now moving into the fire phase and then some activation. Not a bad turn for the Austrian. They only take fire activation, so they fire and put one casualty into the voltigeur in front. Another one was put by the artillery, who's shaken the Irish allied of the French, the voltigeur. And then in the activation phase, they try to rally and remove one of their the casualty. In the center, the combined fire of the entire large regiment put one casualty into the voltigeur in front, and on the right, at the extreme left of the Austrian, they have to relieve. They move slightly forward to try to protect the objective, and the Lancers drew the first blood of the game, crushing one of the voltigeur unit and then fall back with the cavalry retreat. And now we'll see if the French will suffer the first defeat of the game. Frère has a roll of 4 plus 1 to Davout, rerollable, so on a 3 plus. So they pass the first test. So no defeat for the French at the moment and moving in their turn. French third turn start with a 9, a surprise assault. Now that artillery are deployed and a lot of French are in range of fire to something, it could be interesting to see if they manage to harass the enemy and exploit some success in this turn. We will see in a sec. Not the best turn for the French. While on their left, the Polish brigade completed conquer of the small village and set to protect it from any counter-strike. And the center, the stupid Gden, failed to activate it. It didn't receive the order twice, or a double one. So the central brigade that had planned to move forward was stopped and stuck the rest of the column of attack. Bloody Gden. The Frère cleared the space for that brigade and for the fire of the artillery, but this happened in vain. The cavalry has moved forward, putting a target for a counter-attack of the Austrian, but also to protect the flank of the infantry, while the detachment of dragoon occupied the woods, and so that can put some support fire in the next turn. And on this flank, the first Léger take the courtyard and quite taking the objective, but the other two are too far to cross safely the barricade, so they are waiting the next turn. Speaking of fire, the artillery, despite being both of them at canister range, only managed to inflict one casualty on this battalion. Here, the dragoon in the woods put one casualty into the hussars, 2 casualties were put into the large battalion, and 1 into the artillery and in the front battalion. And that's it for the French turn, moving into the Austrian turn. The French start drawing attack of outrance, which could be useful if only Godin have taken the right order. Maybe not this turn, but certainly would come in handy in a few moments. And now proceeding into moving the French troop ready to attack and see what has happened. The fire from the French was not so effective. 1 casualty into this battalion took the mass formation, and 1 into the large battalion, plus 1 into this cavalry. Then Davout ordered a charge to the dragoons, which charged into the Lancers, and here using surprise attack, this Chasseur and Cheval can get the line, dispersed line of the Jaeger, Tyrolese Jaeger, and with the support of the second Chasseur and Cheval. They needed to use surprise attack because they are out of range, but the risk worth the spend of this card. The Leger Brigade taken the courtyard, while the battered unit controlled the main building. The other two battalions enter in the courtyard here, and the rest of the army advance. You then receive the direct order from Davout and take its position, followed by Friant and the Guard of Cambron. And finally, the last reserves arrive, the two squadrons of cuirassiers. We taken the center, slightly moved on the French left, ready to exploit both this flank to envelop the Austrian or support the center if the things go wrong. The woods are completely occupied by the various dragoon detachment, and so that with their skirmisher fire can harass the enemy. And now moving into this fight phase, starting with this dragoon here against the Lancers. 5 attacks for the dragoon, rerollings 1 on a 3+, Lancers hit on a 4 in return. And thankfully they can reroll once, so it hits 4 times, while the Lancers strike back twice. So 2 casualty for the dragoons, 4 with 4 inflicted by them into the Lancers, which are just 2 casualty. They need to take 3 valor tests, so they are gone twice. So the Lancers are destroyed, and then on the other side the French Chasseur and Cheval plus 1 dice for the brigade support against the line. They have 3 dice, but they are in open formation, so 2, and receive the support from the grandsons, so back to 3. So 5s against a 3. The French hit on a 3 without reroll because are light cavalry. Ooh, not bad, not good. Just 2 hit, while the Austrian put 1 casualty in return. So they are destroyed just because they are cavalry. So with this result, the cavalry break the Lancers and the Jaeger, Tyrolese Jaeger, and now proceeding to remove these 2 units and affect the cavalry retreats. Finally, at the end of the melee, the Brigadier General Vaxi advanced guard have to take 2 fortitude tests. 1 is passed for the Lancers, but is failed for the Tyrolese. So the first defeat inflicted to the Austrian, and then put an end to the French turn. Austrian drew a 2, so have to reroll. No card are still used, so just reflush the 2 into the deck, and then we'll see what they have to do. On the left, react, relieve, so only fire activation and rally for the battalion, and mass in the center. Center is probe, no, is a react, so similar. Take only counter-strike dedicated unit, they have not, so they provided to try to rally the center battalion in order to face the incoming Swiss battalion in line, and on the right they relieve, so again only fire activation and eventually maneuver to take the objective, but only fire activation in this turn. So that's it, and I'm moving into the Austrian turn. Austrian fire still affected the skirmish line. The skirmish battalion in mass here concentrated their fire, and the forced to a test that was failed by the detachment of Voltiger here, and also Frere at the end of the phase suffered a defeat because he failed miserably his fortitude test. The artillery shaken this column. The battalion put 1 casualty into the line, And here no one did nothing on this side, and the grandson taken the mass formation. Here the grandson put one casualty into this battalion. Here is the closest target, then take the mass formation because the cavalry is in front of them. And that's it. It's a fourth turn for the Austrian. Their defense, despite the reduced number of battalion on the field, is gallant. And now moving into the French turn to see if they manage to do something in their fifth turn. French fifth turn start with a confusion, which is not really useful at the moment, but we will see now moving into the shooting and activation phase and the recap at the end of it. Finally, a decent fire phase for the French, with this artillery here that shaken and put to this battalion to take a valor test. The artillery down there shaking the counterpart, and the voltage area in the house shaking the large battalion, pick some casualty that are too much for their nerves. And on this side, the combined fire from the artillery and the various skirmisher unit into the woods put enough casualty. No, they're not shaken, just the three casualties. And that's it for the fire phase. Now moving into the activation phase. So the activation phase was finished. The Polish has pushed largely forward, and the cuirassiers are ordered on the left flank for the French. Gudin was sent in order to attack, and his launch is assaulted column into the mass formation, despite both are shaken. And the other two columns, the veterans column and the regular one, is moving in support. The Swiss charge in line the enemy line, and Davout order attack of outrance. The cavalry slightly moved back, while on this side the light cavalry is taking position to counter the enemy reserve that will arrive, while the farm is firmly in the end of the French. So now moving into the fight for this battalion here and the column against the mass. The French has played attack on outrance, means there are 4 attack for the regular column, +1 for the card, +1 for the brigade support. The Austrian has also played a medal and pension to get a +1, so on their unit they have 4 dice, 1 more because they are in mass formation and 1 for the medal and pension. And now proceeding to roll the French. Both hit on a 5+ because they are all shaken, but the French can reroll the ones. So the French hit once, 2, 3 times and a 1. The Austrian hit 1 and no reroll. So we'll see for the French reroll, which is a miss. This means 3 tests for the Austrian here. In the center, the large battalion, also the Davout, which has the intractable trait. That means +1 attack when they fight back. So the Austrian have 5 attack because it's a large battalion. 1 for the brigade support, 1 for Davout, and 1 for the card, medal and pension. The Swiss have 4 attack, 5 because they are in line, +1 for the card and 1 for the brigade support. So we'll see how the outcome is. The Austrian hit on a 5 because they are exhausted. The Swiss hit on a 4, re-rolling once. So the Swiss hit 4 times at the moment and have a 1 to re-roll. The Austrian hit 3 times with no re-roll. It's just a French victory by 1, so they have to take 4 valor test. And this puts an end to the melee phase, so 3 valor test for the mass formation, which is gone, and 4 for the large battalion in the center, will also gone. So 2 fortitude tests for Hindenburg, and both are failed, so 2 defeat. But this also means that this artillery here is gone because an enemy within 6 inches, and 1 casualty is spread to the Jaeger that remain the only. No, even this battalion take 1 casualty but stay where they are. Now removing the casualty and put the token and move to the Austrian turn. The Austrian turn start with the French that play confusion card, and then they draw a 9, a surprise attack. For the Austrian, this is the turn which the reserves will arrive, and because the central unit have taken enough casualty, I trigger the central defense, put the maximus effort in the central defense and try to cause much havoc as possible to the French, conceding the 2 villages to the enemy. And now we'll see what has happened on the right. Relieve, so only 5 but not at the moment. In the center is a 3, is a probe, prefer always shoot against the enemy and engage only when they are at 1/3 of their strength. But now at the moment there is no target available for them, and on the left react, so again shooting. That's it. We're moving into the fire phase for the Austrian, and then the activation that will bring units on the table. The fire phase was quite effective. This column here has passed their valor test. The line of Swiss broken under the canister range of the artillery and the combined fighter of Jaeger and Grenz, and then, using surprise attack, the hussars try to repel the Gudin column of attack and clear the entrance of the village. Is a desperate attack, but in line with the probe activation of the EA. So they launch their bold counter-attack. The column is hit, so 4 attack and no support because there is no Gudin unit in proximity. Against the 4 attack for the hussars, +1 for the well-mounted card that Austrian decided to use. Both hit on a 4+. If the cavalry strike more, they will destroy the French column. The French hit 3 times. The Austrian hit once, so play deadly is reroll all the misses and need to hit at least twice. Yes, they did. With 3 hits they equal the French, but the French are the defenders, so automatically are automatically routed, and after that Gudin have to take a test on a 3+ because it's within Davout range, and it's failed, so 1 defeat, and this means that also this column will disappear because they're within 6. So very good counter-strike for the Austrian, that now will take the cavalry retreat and put his horses pretty back safe in the back line. A desperate end to the Austrian turn. Before the end of the turn, I had to put inside the reserves, and for the Austrian arrives a brigade of heavy cavalry, 1 brigade of infantry, composed by 2 line battalion and Landwehr, 2 Landwehr battalion, 1 regular and 1 large, that take the defensive position into the center village. The French turn start with Les Grognards as a card drawn, and now is the time to prove if the Davout plan will work or not, moving into the fire phase and then in the activation phase. Fire were not so sufficient. The combined fire of the battery just put 1 casualty into this battalion, and no one seems to be able to hit a large battalion of Lander in the center, but when Davout ordered the sound the charge, one of the column of Riant charged in, supported by their partner units. One moved forward, while then protected the front with a square in front of the cuirassiers. The French cuirassiers missed the order and stay stubbornly where they are, and this were part of the plan because they have to come closer to counter the enemy heavy charge. On the other side, the rest of the cavalry has launched forward the dragoon into the depleted hussars supported by the partner battalion. The light cavalry has moved forward to encircle this Grenzen mass, but absolutely to threat this flank of the Austrian. Now moving into the fight to see what has happened. The dice are in favor of the Lambert, 5 against 4, but the French hit on a 3+, rerolling 1. So we'll see. Oh, just 2 hit, while the Grenzen replies. At the moment the French are winning, but another 3 is good enough to put a 3 casualty into the Lambert, which is not shaken yet because it's a large battalion, and the French take 2 casualty in return. I forgot 1 die per side for the brigade support. 1 strike for the Austrian and 1 strike for the French, both 6s. So now the Austrian are shaken, but the column are taking 3 of their 4 casualty. And now moving into this fight here, the Polish lancers were thrown to this battalion here. They should be the bait for the heavy cavalry. So we'll see what has happened. So they take 4, the Austrian roll 5, but they are in line. No support from each side. The lancers hit on a 3+. And the lancers hit 3 times, while the Austrian hit only once. So the Austrian are gone, and the lancers take 1 casualty. At that moment, I declare to use the card to move 1 of my battalion break through to complete the movement of the cuirassiers. I will move them at the end for simplicity. The last fight is the French Dragoon, 5 attack plus their support against the depleted hussars, which have a brigade support also. So 6 against 5, French hit on a 4, but rerolling 1. 5 hits for the French, while just single 1 for the hussars, which is enough to shaken the dragoon, but they have to take 5 valor tests to stay where they are, and almost pass it, just 1 fail, so the hussars are gone. And that put an end to the melee phase. 2 fortitude tests, 1 for Hannenberg and his line infantry, but it passed. Sorry, and 1 for the Grenzen Brigade Advanced Guard. It's also passes. No defeat inflicted this turn. Now I move what I have to move and pass the turn to the Austrian. That's it for the turn. The Dragoon, the Cuirassier using breakthrough as move where they are intended by the order of Davout. So moving into the Austrian turn, which drew, oh, this is good, stubborn, remove 1 of the casualty taken before the activation starts is a good one. And now roll for their right. 2 is a relief. I use 1 of my human decision point to change it into a probe, which grant the possibility to counter-strike. In the center is a probe, but I also change it into, no, good probe is good enough. On the left is a 4 as a probe. Okay, so I can counter-attack with a counter-attacking unit or prefer fire over melee, all around the Austrian line. So moving into the fire phase. Fire was almost ineffective, but the reserves arrive one after another, and now the Austrians can put the weight of their number on the field. The cuirassiers have charged these lancers. They know that there's a trap, because they can see their counterpart ready to strike back. But they were supported by another advance guard made by Grenzen light cavalry and a Jaeger. In the center, the Grenadier de la Reserve under General Major Vermeigram is arrived and marching in column of assault, ready to push the French back. On this side, the Austrians take a much defensive stance, with battalion in mass and in square to resist light and medium heavy cavalry. So this is how the EA Act dictated: protect the center at all costs and try to react to the enemy. And now moving into the fight phase, but before this they will try to rally back. The Landwehr successfully obeyed to the order of rally around the banner, and now they will try to push back the French column. They have 4 attack plus 1 for the support against the 4 attack plus 1 for the French. And they also use stubborn. Maybe is not the best solution on them, but they want to push back at all costs, so they remove 2 casualties rather than 1, and then all of them fight on a 4+ without any reroll. Oh, what a bad roll for the poor Austrian. Not even a single hit. They were hit twice. But this is good, because twice put them back again shaken, but no tests are required for this turn for them. So they are shaken now, and now moving into this cavalry charge. The cuirassiers have a 6 attack plus 1 for the support against the 4 attack for the Polish, and the cuirassiers are all on a 3+, they're rolling 1 because they are heavy cavalry. So this is a reroll. Ooh, for 6-8 on the poor Polish. They are butchered by the saber, which anyway put 4 casualty back. They give their lives. So the 1st battalion of cuirassiers are shaken, but the Polish have to take 3 fortitude valor tests. So 3 valor tests for the Polish, which fail and gone. The Polish officer on a fortitude, he also fails, so a defeat for the French. And that's it for the melee of this turn. I proceed to removing the casualty and back to the France turn. So the French start their turn drawing an ace, which mean all-out attack, which could be good. And now proceeding to the fire and eventually the activation phase. Fire was almost ineffective, just 1 casualty put into the cuirassiers before the French charge. So, sounding the trumpet, the French cuirassiers throw themselves to their counterpart in a volley charge. The rest simply rearrange a little bit, clearing line of sight for the gun that will push forward. And on this side, both the light cavalry and the leger fail to activate, and the dragoon stay put with 1 unit here that have to try to rally, and then moving into the fire phase. Let's start with this fight. Again, the stubborn 5 dice for the Landwehr against the 5 dice for the French. All of the Austrian now hit on a 5+. The French can reroll the 1 because they are the main attacker now. And they eat twice, while the Austrian eat once, but have 2 rerolls, so nothing. 2 valor tests for the Landwehr, which fail and break. And let me take just now the Fortitude test, which is pass. And now I'm here in the heart of the battle where the real fight is starting on. 6 dice for the Austrian cuirassiers against the 6 dice for the French cuirassiers, and is ordered all-out assault, so both the French get 1 more die. They hit on a 3, rerolling once, while the Austrian, the first one, this one, hit on a 4+. So it's a 3, 4, 5, 6 against 1, 7 against 1. So they have to take 7 plus 3, 4 valor test will needed by this one here. They roll 6 dice on hitting on a 5 against the 7 hitting on a 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4 against nothing. But now they have to reroll 2 more. Let me double check a thing. Yes, they cannot reroll when strike back because they are not the main attacker. So 7 Fortitude valor test for the heavy cavalry, and they're gone. And 4 for the other one, and they're also gone. So the brigade is completely destroyed and shattered, and this is why I suggested to not use a small brigade, but sometimes is needed. It is what it is. Croyard did nothing. His brigade was shattered by the desperate charge of the French that take a very few casualty return. And there's one nothing at all, and there's one take just 2. It's a real siege with the Austrian packed into this village that have a harder time to develop their defense. But now the weaker troop, or the wicked troop, were out of sight, and the grenadier can launch a real counter-assault on this side, and the avant-garde here can try to push back or at least contain the French on this side, allowing to get some space for the last brigade that is on the road. So that's the situation. Starting the turn, granting a 8, which is not bad, maybe useful the previous turn. Gratis reroll, free reroll, and now moving into the fire phase. Austrian artillery prove again and again very, very reliable. This battery here put 1 casualty into the dragoon. 1 casualty is put from the Jaeger into the grognard promoted square of Gden. Another casualty in the dragoon in front of them from the artillery. And the combined fire of the skirmish here put 1 casualty here, and this artillery here put 1 casualty into the light cavalry in front. Now moving into the activation and see if the counterattack can be developed with enough strength to push the French back. The light cavalry bravely charged the heavy French cavalry to gain space and give life for time and space, while the rest of the avant-garde take the mass formation and the Jaeger in line to harass the square that blocking this approaching line. He has arrived from the reserve the last brigade from General Major Bourges, and the grenadier developed their counterattack in column against the French, while some other take the line formation and occupy the center of the village. Bravely, this Landwehr in mass formation charge the houses, which is occupied by a detachment of voltigeurs on the side, And on the left, according to the EA, they take defensive position at all and nothing else. So this is I forgot to filming what is happened, but they are relieve, probe, and I change this one in engage and left probe for this side. And that's it. Now moving to the fighting. 4 dice against 6. The Austrian are fresh and hitting on a 3, while the Cuirassier roll and hitting on a 4. Not bad. Four hits for the Austrian Lancers against only 2 from the heavy cavalry. They are not able to shaken and take 4, so 2 Valor tests will be taken soon enough, and they are shaken by whilst just 2 casualties are inflicted to the Lancers. We'll see if the Hussars are good enough to replicate. 6 against 4, hitting on a 3 for the Austrians. No, this time no, because the Grenadier, the Cuirassier hit 4 times and only 2 times for the Hussars. So the Hussars have to take 1 test and are shaken, while the Cuirassier have taken 3 casualties and are not shaken at all. So 142, 1 Valor for the Hussars, and they pass. 2 Valor for the French Cuirassiers, and they fail. So one of the squadrons run away, and 1 fortitude test is taken by these brigade leaders, but it passed bravely. So that's it for the centering. We have the Grenadier that charge the line, and the Landwehr that charge the houses, and that's all for the melee. So Grenadier have 5 basic attack plus 1 for the support. The column have 4 with 1 for the support, and the Grenadier hitting on a 3, while the column hit on a 4. So the Grenadier hit 3 times. The brave French column hit back with 5 attack. And this means not only that the Grenadier were shaken, but they have a tenacity of 5. So both the units are shaken, but this is incredible because the weight was in favor of the Austrian. And finally, the 3 attack of the Landwehr against the 2 of the detachment. 1 plus 1 because they are in a house, hitting on a 4 plus and 5 for the French. So the French hit once, and probably is not enough to shaken, but they take 2 fortitude valor tests because they hit twice. So they put 1 casualty into the Landwehr and then failed their morale. So the Frere brigade have to make a fortitude, which is pass, so no more defeat for the French. All in all, not a bad turn for the Austrian. They clear one of the Cuirassier's squadrons. They hold the center and occupy as is repel one of the French detachment and reduce the fire that can eat their line. So I repeat, all in all, not a bad turn at all, moving into the French turn. And the French drew a stubborn, which is good at this moment, is especially good, and now we'll see what is going to happen in this turn. That could be a very important one. The Davout order is to push harder as possible and try to break the Austrian defense. Both the avant-garde take casualty, the lancers are gone, the combined fire of artillery and the line, so 1 fortitude, which is pass. And down there, the square of the Grenzen is also gone, so 1 more fortitude for the other avant-garde, which is pass. So no defeat inflicted now, and now enter into the activation phase. The Cuirassier take out with stubborn one of their casualties. The unit of Guden take the line because cavalry are gone at the moment, and they change Frian in the center order. A swap of Battalion 1 take the place of the battered one and charge the depleted Austrian grenadier. The rest try to rally here and there, but also all of them failed, and also the fire from the battery. Yes, they are both gun horse draw limbered artillery, so they can move here closer to the enemy to maximize their firepower against this mass infantry here. And that's it. Now moving into the fight. 6 dice for the Cuirassier here, 4 for the Hussar, which are shaken. The fortitude test for the destroyer by fire units are passed, so otherwise they will go. On a 4+ rolling 1 for the French. Ooh, they won the melee, absolutely, but they are shaken by the Hussars, which let them pay for the casualties among their friends. So 4 fortitude for valor test for this unit here I have to take at the moment, and is gone. This avant-garde have no other melee, so I can roll for the fortitude, which is still pass. So the cavalry is gone, but no defeat were inflicted. And now into the center, where the fresh infantry line charge the depleted grenadier. So are 5 against 6, but the 6 hit on a 5+, and the fresh line hit on a 3 rerolling 1s. So rerolling the 1, they inflict 5 on 5 casualties, but the grenadiers again make them pay 3 casualties into the line here, and I have to take 5 valor test. And the poor grenadier is gone. The first grenadier battalion of the reserves is gone. And then another fresh line in assaulting the Landwehr into the houses. So the Landwehr have 3, becoming 4. 3 rerolling 1 for the French, 4 for the Austrians. So 2 casualties inflicted, and no at the moment 2 inflicted by the French, thanks to the reroll. And this bring the battalion to take 1 fortitude, 1 valor test. So the Landwehr is gone. So fortitude test for the infantry brigade, which is still passed. No more defeat inflicted to the the valor test for the grenadier, which is also passed. No defeat inflicted to the Austrians that held the line despite the casualties. Now removing the casualties battalion and move to the Austrian turn. The carnage has begun, and casualty mounted very quickly when this happened. Austrian turn. A 2. Again, they have to reflush, but now at least they have some cards that were used to put them back. And moving into the fire phase, and then for the assault. Against the Austrian artillery and the Jäger, I have to admit, saved the day. The Guden ultra veteran, because they have they are a regular veteran plus the Grognard take their 6 casualty and now are shaken in front of the enemy guns. The Cuirassiers have taken 1 casualty and have to take 1 test, but they stay. In this side, the dragoon have to take one test, and they also stay. They are shaken by the fire. So that's it for the fire, and now moving into the activation. The only melee was this grenadier that launched their assault against the battered column of French. So 5, 6 against 5, with the grenadier slightly in advantageous number of dice, and no reroll. They hit on a 3 while French hit on a 4. So the grenadier put 5 casualty into the enemy, and they put 3 back. So some casualty taken by the Austrian elite, but 3, 1 for exhaustion, 4 valor test from the column of Frian, which failed twice, and so they're gone. And that's for this Austrian turn. Moving into the French one. And the meat grinder continue. They take not stubborn. This is inspiration, which could be helpful because the casualty is mounting rapidly here. Now moving into the shooting and then into the assault phase for the French. Finally, a decent fire phase for the French. The combined fire of this line here and the 2 artillery put 3 casualty into this Grenzen battalion. And the fire from skirmisher into the houses, and they put 1 casualty into this battalion here. They receive a severe fire from the artillery, which put 4 tests to take by them to survive, while the combined fire of this carbine put 3 casualty here. So 4 tests for them. The first is gone for the first. The second, the third, and the fourth, twice. So even with the hate, is not worth to take it. So they are gone, and now moving into the French activation. I have to roll for the Fortitude, which is passes. No defeat yet inflicted to the encirclement here is closing the gap and bringing the artillery forward. The dragoon launches a charge against this unit in line, supported by their detachment. The grenadier of Frian, of Gden, launch an assault to the grenadier into the village, while the rest rally here and there, especially the cuirassiers rally 3 or 4 casualties, and now moving into the fight phase. Let's start with Frian that charge the remaining unit of the Hannenberg into the church. So our 4 attack without support against 2 attack. They hitting on a 3, rerolling 1. They take 1 casualty in return, but inflict 4. So 3 valor test for the Jaeger detachment, and they are gone. There is no need to take more fortitude test, because it's the last unit into the brigade. So this 2 was moved to dead of each and will be removed at the end of the phase. Now the grenadier against the grenadier, 5 plus 1 of the support, hitting on a 3 against 5 without support, because the line back of them are engaged. The grenadier hit on a 3, re-rolling 1, the other one hitting on a 4. So the Austrian hits 3 times and the 2 misses. The French hit 5 times to take 3 casualty but inflict 5. That means 3 valor tests for the grenadier. 1 fail, but they play the card and auto pass the morale in this case, and then the line are 5 attack because they're grenadier, 6 because they're in line, 7 for the support against the 5 plus 1 of the support of the dragoons. Dragoons re-rolling the 1 in melee because they are heavy cavalry on a 4+ from both sides. at the moment are 2 for the French and 3 for the Austrian, but there is a couple of 1 to reroll. If at least one of them hit, the Austrian are gone. 1 hit, so they draw the combat, but the cavalry are the attackers, so they win, and the Austrian are gone. And that's it for the French turn. But the Austrian now have to take a fortitude test for the Grenadier, and it fails. So 1 casualty for this line here, and a waste of the card for them because they are shaken and are automatically destroyed by this failure. And that's it for the French turn. And proceed to removing the casualty and moving into the Austrian, and the tide of the battle looks has changed in a few minutes when the Grenadier and the Dragoon launch their assault simultaneously. Situation has dramatically changed because one of the main counterattack unit, the Grenadiers battalion, is reduced to a single 1 battalion, while this is gone, which is the last unit destroyed, and 1 entire brigade is destroyed. But especially now Austrian have lost almost all their fight power, and the situation is not good at all. But we'll see. The turn will start with against the Queen, but there is no more cavalry, so pretty useless this card at the moment. So moving into the fire phase. Center defense. Right is a probe. In the center is an engage, and on the left is a relieve. So perfect in line from what is happening on the table. That's good. Moving into the fire phase. Alright, again the artillery for the Austrian is probably the best part of the army today. This artillery combined with them failed to do anything, and the Jaeger here forced them to a test, and they stay. Here the artillery failed to hit, but this one forced a test here, and they stay. This artillery force a test here, and they stay. So all in all, not bad for the French. They take 1 casualty, they take 2 casualty, they take 1 casualty, and they take 1 casualty. So most of the main line troops are at the moment shaken. Now with the free activation, the last Grenadier tried to repel their counterpart, and then proceed to the other activation. That's it for the activation. Everything's going fine. The only fight is the Grenadier against the Grenadier. 6 attack for the French, 6 attack for the Austrian, because they are in line but no support. They are in column but they have support. Grenadier taking a casualty because they are within 6 inches from the enemy, so both hit on a 4+. And the French Grenadier inflicted 3 casualty, while the Grenadier from the Austrian only 2. So they win the melee, being shaken but win the melee, and that put an end to the Austrian turn. Moving into the French one. The time is running out. Probably no more than a couple of turns can be played against from both the army. It's time to try to inflict the Coup de Grace. 10, useless card, but maybe in case of... no, it's not useless, because the can double the value of the objective, but probably is better to take to activate a unit that failed to do this. Moving into the fire phase for the French. Fire phase is nothing special this turn, just this unit will be shaken, and some casualty put here and there, but nothing special, as I said. And now moving into the French activation phase. Davout ordered the all-out assault. The cuirassiers charged this battalion en masse. The Gden line charged this mass of Grenzen, which is shaken. Friana Brigade moves sideways, clear the space for the battalion of the guards that at the sound of trumpet and drums charge into the grenadier, while a combined assault of the dragoon assault a large battalion, probably without any hope to win the melee, is a throw of dice, is pure bet. But for every casualty they put into this battalion is some less possibility to retaliate on the guard. On the side, the light cavalry rally for the next turn, if the next turn will be happen, because if the center will crumble, the Austrian can concede the battle. We'll see, because the French have a deadly can allow to reroll, and the dragoon that reroll could be the key for the battle. We'll see in a second, moving into the fight phase. Let's start here. On a 4+, they will fight. No, they suffer, they will fall back. +2 is a 5, so they do not take casualty, but they fall back, and no melee will taken by this cuirassier that cannot break the mass. Here, Guden unit, the Grognard against the shaken mass of Renzen. So 5 dice from one side, 6 dice on the other one. All hit on a 5, but the French can reroll 1. Oh, interesting. 2 and a couple of 1 with 2 for the Austrian. This means that it's just a French victory, but now is more solid. 3 tests must be taken, and so 3 tests they will take, and they fail and break. And this force a fortitude test for this avant-garde, which is passed without any problem. No more tremble in the morale of the Austrian. Never fail again their morale. Now moving into the center, where the guard have charged the grenadier. So the whole guard has a 6 basic dice in column, +1 for the support, and grenadier have 6 because they are in line, but without support. The old guard hitting on a 3, re-rolling 1. The Austrian hitting on a 4, re-roll nothing. So the Austrian hit twice, while the old guard hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No reroll is no reroll, but 1 to shake them, and 4 fortitude test, valor test for the grenadier. And they are destroyed, and so are the brigade. So 1 defeat inflicted to Davout. And now the real crucial moment. The shaken dragoon that charge the large battalion in column with support. They also have a support for the partner. 6 against 6. 5 against 4, but they have the reroll. So let's see. 2 attack for the French, 2 attack for the Austrian. Is a victory for the French, and this means that the great large battalion in the center is gone against the cavalry. So let me say that probably this will cost the battle to the Austrian, that will take and pass their fortitude test. Let me remove the casualties. Now, at the end of the French turn, some consideration about the battle. The Austrian now have 2 fresh battalion left to protect the objective, and they can easily do with a free activation. So they can move this one forward and this one in support. Even if we play another turn, we have time to make it. The French cannot crush 2 battalions in a row, because they have no room to charge both the battalion and prevent and destroy both of them. So because I'm quite tired, And in any case, it was a great game, very close again, because there are lots of defeat inflicted here and there. I suppose that is a French minor victory. Let me double check in a second the defeat taken by the Austrian and see how the outcome of this battle. That's the end of the game, and as I said, another turn is just for the sake of rolling dice, because the French have 6 points for the 2 side objective plus 7 defeat, which means 13 points, and they have 8 plus 3 is 11. So it's a minor victory for Davout with a 13 to 11. He claimed the victory, and the Austrian sieged in this village, hold until the night come. Then when the time is burned and the French had not claimed this road, they slowly retreat. Let the French with the win, but not so decisive one. All in all, a victory is a victory, and the Emperor cannot blame his best Marshal. It was a very close game, it's a very fun one. It's hard to play and hard to break the Austrian with their mass formation that is a great bonus, defensive bonus for them. And this bring the French that at the beginning of the battle are in large number to face a lot of stubborn defender. And this battle, as you can see, I saw the Austrian pass one morale after another in the end, so could be ending very, very different ways. Anyway, it's a great game, and I'm happy that I show you. Thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoy it. Happy wargaming, and bye-bye.